As we begin with what's here, we notice that on a bunch of different levels. There's our body, our physical body, and the space our body's occupying. And we can start right here with kindness. Are you in a position that's supported, comfortable? Are you letting yourself have that extra moment to stretch or move? And then maybe get a blanket or a pillow, whatever it is that you need to be more comfortable. So there's an orientation there and a kind of a permission that we give ourselves when we're doing a practice to be kind and loving towards ourselves. And we notice the space the body is occupying. There's a field of energy that is the body. And some of that energy vibrates a little bit more slowly, and that's our physical body, our bones, our skin, our muscles, our joints, our organs, all of those physical components of our body. And we have the sense perception of our skin, for instance, with air or clothes. We have a very embodied experience as a human being. And it's always here when we put our attention to it. And some of the sensations in our body might be pain or contraction. Almost always, and I probably could say always, we can soften a little bit more as we come in and notice our muscles. If you were to notice your whole body, head to toes, let your body really settle so that you're supported in your chair, supported on the floor. And when we notice what's going on our body, on our physical body, and we start to relax the muscles, part of what we might also notice is our breath. Our breath also starts to become smoother. Notice if you're holding your breath or if there's any kind of jerkiness or tightness in your breath. And one of the best ways to work with the breath is to soften the stomach area, navel center, and the lower belly. And let your muscles lengthen as you breathe in and soften as you breathe out. And for a moment, anchor your attention to your breath. Notice the belly as it softens, as your muscles lengthen. And see if you could allow enough ease in your breath that there's just a continuous smooth flow. Just as we arrive at the end of the exhalation, the belly is kind of soft, but you're not pushing in. Not much air coming out at the end of the exhale. But then it's time the body wants to move into the in breath. So then we bring in the new oxygen with the in breath. Our lungs fill with air, and then when we have enough air, we don't just keep holding on to it. We let it go. So, for a minute or so, let's just focus all of our attention on that rhythm of the breath. Let your body breathe. Then we can turn our attention to our thoughts. Now, your thoughts might be about the breath. Sometimes when we notice that we have a held breath or shallow, or that our breath has some jerkiness, or we're holding our breath, we get kind of impatient with ourselves. We might have some unkind thoughts. And if that's the case, if there's any frustration there, then we could use that as a practice of kindness as well. The reality is that the patterns that we pick up in our breath, as well as in our body and our brain, are all due to our experiences. And if throughout our life we've had a lot of feelings of fear or uncomfortableness or edginess, hypervigilance, then our breath will reflect that. And so, just as we would soothe a frightened child, we could bring all this kindness to ourselves. Along with that, real knowledge that as soon as we start allowing the ease in the breath, we soften our body, that our body really wants to breathe in a way that's healthy and supportive. Our body is really on our own side. We developed any kind of patterns of holding our breath due to trying to protect ourselves. And especially as we're doing a practice, we can let all of that go and bring our kind patience to our body and breath. And we might notice energy or sensation in our body as well. And there's always a reason. We might not always know the reason, but often we do. We can look and say, okay, my shoulders are always up around my ears. Even when I'm relaxed, there's a bit of a shield back there, tightness. Or I'm always clenching my jaw, clenching my teeth. Or I have a worried frown on my forehead a lot. And in a moment, we're going to go through the body and do a systematic relaxation. But just to bring our attention just like that, we can often let go, let ourselves soften. There's such a relief in that. So if you were situated back behind your brain, at the back of your head, let's take a moment to watch whatever the thoughts are that are coming and going. Notice that thoughts come in as words, pictures. Pictures can be still or moving, like video clips. Sometimes there's sound. We hear words. And usually, when we start really looking to see what's happening in our thought stream, there's a bit of a gap or a stop. While we're waiting for the words to come up, just notice your forehead and eyebrows. And as you breathe out, let your forehead and eyebrows soften. Notice the thoughts that might be coming up, and notice if they're words, if they're pictures, if they have a lot of attention grabbing potential. If it's okay to let them go through the back of your mind and just stay present with your breath and the softening of your forehead. And notice if you've gotten involved in a train of thought and just bring yourself back. Again, sometimes we can be quite impatient with ourselves and expect something out of the mind that it's not the nature to do. So it's the nature of one level of our mind to wander and think, and our primitive brain and nervous system bring up all kinds of scenarios of things we might want to be careful about. And then, as we're doing a practice in particular, we can watch, notice what are the thoughts that are coming and going. And we also notice what is our relationship with those thoughts. Is there a neutrality? We're just looking. And part of that looking could be that we notice we tighten up with certain thoughts or we soften with other thoughts. But is there a basic kind of acceptance? Or do we judge ourselves for the thoughts? Are we impatient? Are we welcoming? One of the most foundational practices of kindness is to want to know who we are, to want to be present with ourselves. On this deep, deep level, we want to know and be present for our experience as a human being. Now let's bring our awareness out to the whole of our body again. As we go through the body, just notice your relationship with the different parts of your body and with the sensations and relative ease in each part. Come back to the forehead and eyebrows. We were just paying attention to that, but almost always there's a little bit more tension that has built up. And exhale, we could release. Soften your eyes, eyelids, the corners of your eyes. Let your sense of vision be at rest, either with your eyes closed or with your gaze soft. Notice your cheeks and mouth. Notice if you're clenching your teeth. Put a little bit of space between your upper jaw and lower jaw so your teeth aren't touching top to bottom. Move your lower jaw around a little bit if you like. Release some of that tightness if there's tightness there. And let your tongue rest on the floor of your mouth. Notice your throat, the front of your neck down to your collarbones, the sides of your neck down to your shoulders, and the back of your neck down to the large muscles of the upper back, between the shoulder blades down through your back. And as you breathe out, let that whole area soften. Let your shoulders move away from your ears. Let any kind of preparedness or heaviness in the shoulders soften, lighten. Bring your attention back to the sides of your neck and shoulders and let your arms and hands relax. Let a wave of relaxation flow down through your arms, hands, fingers, fingertips. And come back up to the forehead and eyes, mouth and chin, throat, collarbones, and now down through the large muscles of the chest. Notice as we're getting to the lower part of the rib cage that there's movement of our body with the breath. Notice your stomach area, navel center, lower belly, your pelvic floor and hip joints, and then down through your legs. All the way from the strong muscles of the upper thighs through your lower legs, your feet and toes. Notice the soles of your feet. And now bring your attention back to your whole entire body, head to toes. And let's rest in the direct experience. Not even any labeling of, oh, I notice that's tight, or I'm frustrated by this, and no thoughts about other things, just for a couple of minutes. See if you could maintain the direct experience that you're having right now, head to toes. You might notice air on your skin, the flow of breath in the nose, your belly moving. Let your mind stay focused. And then bring in that word kindness. And if you're interested, to set an intention about how you might work with that through the day today. One suggestion might be to notice your relationship with your experience. Notice if you're patient or impatient. When your mind is wandering all over, can you bring it back with kindness? To notice that basic goodwill and interest. What is your level of interest in yourself? And not in an egotistical way, but in a, I want to get to know this organism, this human being that I am. And how might I bring kindness to that relationship with myself today? Allow yourself to feel that in your whole system. Bring your attention to your heart center. You could put your hand on your heart if you like. Today, I'm going to work with kindness in this way. And then when you're ready, open your eyes.